Hi, everybody. All eyes on the Gulf of Mexico as the storm system is trying to intensify and quickly. We're in a situation where these are very warm waters. We got to keep a close eye on this because it's getting stronger and fast. This is a look at what will likely be Francine any minute and will likely be a hurricane. It's now a matter of how strong that hurricane will be when it makes landfall. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justus. If you're new to this channel, please consider going ahead and liking this video and subscribing. And please, in the comment section, let me know where you're watching from. I'll tailor this to you. Everybody in the Southeast is going to get some rain from Francine later this week. It's just a matter of how much, and I'm going to break that down for you day by day, even hour by hour, and let you know how much we're going to see and where we'll have some severe impacts. Let's look closely at this system right now as it's moving toward the north. You see this enhanced satellite. This is basically our GO-16, incredible images that we have and technology that we have these days to give you a look in these storms, and it helps us track it. These big purples, the darker purples here, that's taller storms. That tells me this storm has a big blow up of some thunderstorms. And unfortunately, it's an environment that's quite conducive to development. This time on Friday, this system had a 10% chance at forming. It just goes back to the old saying, you leave a system that's even weak and ragged in an environment like is in the Gulf of Mexico this time of the year, you leave it alone for too long, it's going to blow into a big storm, and that's what we have right now. So let's look at all possibilities. Will this thing rapidly intensify, and where is it going? Latest track from the Hurricane Center is pretty locked in on East Texas into Louisiana. Then it gets into Mississippi and basically rides the Mississippi up. Now, there's not much going on in the jet stream this week. In fact, much of the north half of the United States is locked into a heat wave, so there's not much in the way of cold fronts or jet stream action to kick this thing out of here. So unfortunately, this thing's just going to kind of unravel over the course of 5-6 days and have to basically die out over land. That means a lot of rain. So let's look at that right now as we move forward here. The models, the new ones that came in today, are dead set on this going through central Louisiana, with that worst or right side being on the right side here. So yeah, some of these stronger winds are going to be in the middle part of Louisiana and then ride right up into Mississippi. And then advancing this model out even more, this is going to ride basically right along the Mississippi River up through Tennessee, near Memphis, right along Arkansas. And again, the heavier rain is going to be right here on the east or the right side of that track. So most of Alabama, most of Mississippi will get the worst of the rain and the wind and the severe risks. You got to remember, there's that twisting and turning of the winds in these systems. So tornado risks would be on the direct east side of that for all of Mississippi, all of Alabama. For us in the Western Carolinas, you're watching right now, it's going to be a wet Thursday night, Friday, and possibly even Saturday, maybe even into Sunday, because like I said, this thing's got to unravel right over land, and it's basically going to do that over parts of Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi. So let's map this out even more because it kind of sits there over land and has nowhere to go. The models could not be in better agreement. It's great to see from a meteorological standpoint when you have consistency. I don't like what I'm seeing out of the models. I just like that they're consistent, okay? Now, you have to know that tropical weather is usually when and how we get how and when we get rain in the Southeast in September. It's normally a very dry month. This one is very dry across much of the Southeastern United States. So it's usually tropical systems that give us rain, and that's going to bear true this time as we're likely to get several inches of rain from this as we go throughout this week. How about rapid intensification? Our high-resolution models are going a little bullish today. Now, they typically do that, whether it's snow, whether it's rain, or hurricanes. We got to keep an eye on that because we're now in the wheelhouse where these high-resolution models do tend to do well. So they're showing Cat 2, Cat 3, whereas our reliable tropical models keep this at a tropical storm, maybe Cat 1 status. There's one model here that takes it to a Cat 2. So for now, the models, the new ones that just came in, are reserved on this not rapidly intensifying. But what I'm telling you, what I'm seeing on our models, or the satellite rather, is that this thing's tightening up quickly, and it's getting more intense more quickly, and it's over bathwater. The environment here across the Gulf of Mexico is such that Francine will likely become a strong hurricane. 100-mile-per-hour winds, certainly not out of the question. So that would be inching up closer to Cat 2 in status before it makes landfall. It is running out of real estate and time because it will make landfall in a matter of 48 hours, Wednesday. So It's running out of time to be able to really intensify quickly, but 48 hours is a long time when you're talking about tropical characteristics. We've had systems bomb out, as you call it, in 24 hours. That's when the pressure drops a certain percentage every hour for 24 hours, and it becomes a monster quickly from a tropical storm, Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3. I don't expect that to happen in this case, but it's not out of the question. Our SHIPS model, which is a reliable tropical-only model, is forecasting a Cat 1, which is right in line with the National Hurricane Center's forecast. You go into tropical storm status, and then it's not a tropical system anymore, just a remnant low as it moves up through Arkansas, Tennessee. Doesn't matter if it's tropical or not, it's still producing a lot of rain, and that's going to be the issue with this, is it loses its potential intensity, but the winds die down while the rain spreads out. Let me show you the high-resolution models I was telling you about that want to blow this system out. This is our NAM model. It's meant to go out 60 hours, and that's really about it. It tightens this thing up real bad here to Tuesday night, Wednesday's time frame. This is as far as it gets, but what I can do here is I can access the NAMS model, kind of its brother or sister, if you will. It goes out 84 hours, not as high resolution. You see, it's not as pretty looking, I guess you could say. It's not giving you that real close look, but boy, it shows a strong system moving in on Wednesday, Cat 1, Cat 2 through Louisiana. Look at that shield of rain, though, spreads out because it's over land now. So from Florida to Georgia to the Carolinas, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas, this is going to be a wet week for us, beginning Wednesday along the Gulf Coast and then spreading north Thursday. Thursday morning, we're not seeing rain in Atlanta, Greenville, or Charlotte yet, but it's coming. And there it spreads on up as we go into Thursday afternoon. It looks very wet. Thursday night, it looks wet. I'm going to show you a broader view here in a second. But let's look at the wind with this. This high-resolution NAM model, again, they are more bullish. They're traditionally a little more aggressive, showing 126 mile per hour gusts, which is up there. It's up there at Cat 2 strength, okay? We need to watch it. Is this thing going to blow up into Cat 2, Cat 3? The high-resolution models want to paint that picture, but the rest of the model's not quite going there yet. So let's look at the longer version of this one as well. Again, it's less resolution, but right there at 72, 75 miles per hour. So probably a Cat 1 is a safe bet at landfall, but as high as a Cat 2 would be kind of my ceiling on this system for you folks in Louisiana. The rest of us do not need to focus in on the wind, and honestly, we say this a lot, it's impacts, not category. This is going to produce a lot of rain, so a big component of this system is going to be the days of rain that it brings. So here's the European model, brings it into central Louisiana, and then it spreads it up toward the north. Rain starts to get into the western Carolinas Thursday night, and let's advance this out one more run too for the European. Brings in rain Friday to areas like Atlanta, Greenville, Charlotte, and this system just basically has to wither out over land Friday night into Saturday over Tennessee, and then Saturday looks very wet, and possibly even into parts of Sunday. Maybe not so much for Sunday, but this thing's just kind of doing its thing over Kentucky and Texas, or Kentucky and Tennessee, I should say, without much to kind of scoot it on out of here. GFS is a very similar look. I'll rewind it here. Making landfall central Louisiana, scooting up the Mississippi, basically right up the Mississippi. Rain comes into the western Carolinas Thursday night, off and on Friday. And then Saturday, some rain, but not much. It's basically a humid environment to where thunderstorms would form in the afternoon. I don't think it's an all-day rain. It's probably cloudy on Saturday. A lot of college football games going on. Carolina game day going on. It's probably going to be wet in some form or fashion. Probably not a washout, but right now looks like most of the heavy rain has kind of fizzled out with Francine by the time we get to Saturday. Let's look at the wind speed gusts from the European. 78 miles per hour at landfall. Let's look at the rainfall totals with the European. Yikes. This thing's going to put down a lot of rain. Let's go back to Saturday, okay? So, 10 plus inches at landfall in central Louisiana. You got 5 for New Orleans. You go up through most of Mississippi, 3 to 5 inches. Most of Alabama, 3 to 5 inches. Most of Georgia, 1 inch in Statesboro to 5 inches north of Atlanta. And then you got, 2 to 4 inches in the upstate of South Carolina. Now that 2 to 4 inches looks to be a good average. I've seen the models be pretty consistent in 2 to 4 inches for a while now for Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson up through Asheville. And it's because of that right side of it just reaching up here. Now I don't think it's severe. And honestly, if I'm being honest with you here, we need the rain. It's been a dry month. And like I mentioned, we don't ever hope for tropical systems, but when you look at history, September's rains are brought from tropical systems, right? Okay, it's normal to get tropical systems to make landfall. It's a very common thing in September for the Southeast to have tropical interaction. So for us to get rain from this is honestly a normal occurrence. We just don't want it to stall out and give us too much rain. In this case, it looks like 2 to 4 inches. We can handle that. So all in all, it doesn't look to be a severe thing. It's something we'll be watching closely. Here's the European model. Let me show you what the folks at the National Hurricane Center and National Weather Service are forecasting. Same. I mean, the map looks almost identical. You got nearly 6 to 10 inches here at landfall in central Louisiana. Then you go up here to the upstate through western North Carolina. It's a lot of rain. It's very wet Thursday night through Saturday morning, 2 to 4 inches. And honestly, that's more rain than we've had in months. So it will be a lot of rain in a short period of time that we haven't had in a while. But I don't think it's enough to cause widespread problems. How about severe issues? Right now, there looks to be some severe risks along landfall, of course, like you would expect. Now, I would expect day 4 and day 5 to scoot up in here like this. Day 6 and day 7 probably in here. So as we get to Friday, Saturday, there's probably some degree of a severe risk here across western Tennessee. Some thunderstorms across the western Carolinas, but I don't think it's severe. And it's something we'll just have to watch and keep a close eye on. So the National Hurricane Center, we're watching a couple of different areas here. So what else is cooking out here? There are 2 additional areas, each with, high chances, medium to high chances of forming later this week. Where are they headed? Well, the new European models, which do a great job at this, show possibly some formation and then kind of an immediate kind of fizzle out over the central Atlantic. So not too worried about those. Of course, we're watching it closely, but right now it doesn't look to be a major impact there. What I can tell you is beyond this week where we have rain, clouds, and some cooler temperatures, it looks to start getting quite hot next week. So September 16th through the 22nd, the new outlook for basically all of the United States is for above normal temperatures. That would be a ridge of high pressure. That's why this system is kind of allowed to scoot up here. Had there been a dip in the jet stream in this area, there would likely be this thing scooting out to sea or getting caught up in the jet stream and moving on out. Well, there's a ridge here. That ridge is leading to warm weather, and that's allowing this thing just to kind of meander around without much steering current. Now, what I can tell you is, while we're warm here during this time frame, this is what's coming. I mean, it may take a while. So the 3rd week of September, we're warm. Probably the 4th week, we're warm. But going into October, we may ring in October with some cooler than normal temperatures there. But all eyes will be on this as we move forward, folks. I sure appreciate you following along here on the channel. And again, if you're new to watching us here, I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justus. I give you those early warnings of severe weather. It's kind of my thing when it's TV and it's online here. My goal is to prepare you, to give you all the information you need to make decisions for your family. And I know you make those decisions not the day before, right? You need to kind of know so you can plan. What I'm telling you right now is there will be rain Thursday, Friday, possibly even into Saturday across the Southeast. A lot riding on those forecasts, right? You're going to football games. You've got high school games. You've got, other league games, right? My boys are in ball right now, and it's probably going to impact some practices and games later this week. But right now, it looks to be severe impacts along the Gulf Coast, particular Louisiana, East Texas through Mississippi. And then beyond that, looks like it's just kind of a rainy pattern for the Carolinas and Georgia. We'll look out for some storms, but right now the risk of severe weather would be confined toward Tennessee. Again, if you can, please let me know in the comments section where you're watching from. I love to look back at the city so I can kind of give you more of an in-depth look. It helps me tailor these videos. And please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Hope you guys have a good day, and I will keep you posted.